Welcome back to the nightclub, guys. This is once again your host, Night Wrencher. I have been so AFK for I don't know even how long was my last video. Finally, the 3VZ is out. I had a day off from work and I managed to get most of everything that I needed to at least take the engine and transmission out of the truck. It was, I don't want to say difficult, but it wasn't exactly the most easiest thing I've had to do, especially because I didn't want to deal with separating the engine and the transmission, and I just wanted to pull it all together all in one go. My plans for the truck is to convert it to a 5-speed truck in the future, so the automatic transmission will have to be removed either way, so I figured it'd be a great opportunity to do so. The videos that you're going to be seeing before the final video at the end are basically clips and shots that I've managed to take throughout the year. Basically, you're going to see a little bit more dated videos toward the end, considering that I've been working on this for over a year now and I haven't finished, and I know that says really bad things about me, but finally I'm getting it done. Hopefully, with the footage that I have here for you guys, you'll be able to conduct your own conclusions about how we should finish up the removal of the engine. I will be having to remove a second engine and transmission, and that'll be from the 91 4Runner that I have. And that's going to be basically the exact same thing that I'm doing now, and I'm going to have to pull it out the exact same way. And the reason for that is because the engine is seized and I don't feel like taking the oil pan off to undo the caps and hopefully to turn the crank. So I'm just going to be removing everything all in one go and hope that everything goes back the correct way. This time I'm not going to be messing around with harnesses. It'll be basically remove, swap everything over, and go back inside the way it came from, using the original tutorial that I've had in the very first video that I posted God knows how long ago. So basically this video isn't really a write-up or a how-to or anything. It's basically clips that I thought were helpful that I've managed to film that didn't make it to the first part of the video. When I actually do the 4Runner, that one's actually like a brand new truck. It hasn't been touched, it hasn't been modified in any way, so that truck is basically going to have to be the guinea pig for the continuation of the write-up that everybody's been waiting for. I know most people don't even require the write-up anymore, considering how long it's been. I don't think anybody necessarily is waiting for me, and judging by the number of views and likes that I've had recently, I don't think anybody's too interested of what I've got to say. But for the most part, I feel like this is something that a lot of people would like to see finished after I haven't been able to do it for a very long time, and basically bring a little bit of closure to my projects that I've had. This is not the end. In reality, I think of this more like the beginning, more than anything else, because finally I'm getting my hands back into my truck. Then my hands will be into another truck, and then Subaru, and then my Cobra, and I've just got so many things I've got to do, and I'm trying to really find the time to do so and get everything taken care of. One step at a time, and I know a lot of people don't really have the time or patience to wait for me, but in the future it'll be a nice series for somebody to come back and watch, and hopefully get an idea of how things are done. I'm showing basically most of everything you have to do, everything from removing the tranny lines, cross member. There's really not a lot you need to remove from the transmission when you're removing everything as an assembly. And the reason for that is the harness is all intertwined on the engine, so you don't really need to worry about disconnecting anything because it's all going to come out together. There's no 2 sensor plugs that come off that secondary harness that you need to worry about. You just basically remove the cooling, transmission cooling lines. You remove the shifter assembly. You remove a couple of brackets that connect the shifter assembly to the transmission. You drain the transmission, of course, and then basically you just go back to removing everything that gets in the way. As you guys can see, I've actually started the removal process, and by the end of it you're going to see that I actually finished the removal process. I wasn't actually in the mood to work on it today, but finally I managed the courage up, turned up the radio, and then started working on it. The whole lesson you guys should be taking from this is that the easiest way to remove this from the truck is to remove everything that's around the engine. You have to remove the cooler, the transfer case cooler completely. Every single line's got to be removed. The harness has got to be completely detached from the engine. Make sure the manifold and everything under the manifold is disconnected and removed. When you happen to pull the engine and transmission out together, you might accidentally break the back coolant plugs, sensors. The best way to prevent yourself from doing that is to remove the sensor block completely, so when the engine has to be tilted, it won't bang itself onto the firewall, and it also gives the firewall a little bit of clearance as to not damage anything else, and make the removal process a lot easier. But if you do not remove the transfer case cooler, you are going to be in for a very, very bad time, and you're probably going to have to end up replacing the cooler. Ask me how I know. So what you're seeing now is me essentially hooking everything up. The chains, I've used a very, very heavy duty chain. Please do not try this at home with some wimpy little chains. Everything has to be like grade 8 bolts, and everything's got to be hooked up 100%. Keep in mind the way the engine is tilting and the way the hooks are facing. You do not want to begin to take the engine out and then all of a sudden one of the links slips out because it's being pulled in the opposite direction of the hook. You have to be very careful in the way you guys do everything. I'm actually going very slow. I think from start to finish it took me about 2 hours to get from unhooking everything on the transmission side to finishing up everything that was on top, including the motor mounts. Probably 2 hours total to get everything out. One trick is to actually take the air out of the front tires, and that'll actually dip the body lower and gives you a couple inches of room. You really can't see it in the video, but if you really pay attention, you'll be able to see that the body actually does go down quite a bit, and that gives you just enough room so you don't have to lift up the engine any higher than you need to. It's one of those things that really should be taken into consideration when you're pulling out the engine. So basically it's just a back and forth, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, making sure it doesn't snag on anything, making sure every single line is passing through perfectly, no cables are being caught. Everything is a nice slow process. You don't want to rush something like this, because something like this could end up hurting you or possibly killing you or damaging your truck. I don't know which one's worse for you guys, but I think the latter's the worst for me. So I was actually very, very careful, seeing as I didn't want to take off the grill or any of the lights in the front. So I was actually being very cautious and very slow in the way I do things. Basically I just end up pulling it right out, and then after I get it close, all I have to do is tie a rope around it and then lift up the tail shaft just enough so it covers the body, and then I put the tail shaft on top of a little cart so it holds itself up, so it prevents it from swinging into the truck and damaging something. On the way down you have to actually be very careful, because the knobs on most of those hoists are very sensitive, so even a millimeter of movement could just bring the engine just crashing down, so you have to be very careful on how you do that. Basically I'm just making everything move as smoothly as possible. You saw that I even greased the wheels on the cart so it can move forward and back as I need it to, and then it just comes crashing down to the ground nice and softly, so I don't have any issues. So that's basically it. If you guys have any in-depth questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'm open to any kind of questions. I'm open to any kind of suggestions, any content you guys might be wanting to put on this channel, I'm all ears. As soon as I have the time to do so, I will put even more effort into the things that I'm doing. I don't know when I'll be able to take out the 4Runner engine, and that's actually when the second part of the how to take out a 3VZ engine is going to be, but hopefully it doesn't take too long. Well, I don't want to take much more of your guys' time. If this was something that you guys enjoyed, if it was very helpful, please give me a like so I know that this video is actually being appreciated and that you guys want more videos like this. Like I said, the next video will be out soon, I hope, and I hope it'll be the continuation of the tutorial to take out the 3VZE. So I hope to hear from you guys soon, and I really appreciate all of you. Night Wrencher out.